nobody was going to solve my issues, forgiveness or whatever it was towards the wrongdoings in my life, except for myself. Unless I was able to forgive, put it behind me and move forward and just focus on, okay, what am I in control of? What am I doing? How do I progress? Instantly in that moment, I was like, forgave myself, forgave other, like my parents or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm good. And it was the most empowering moment of my life.
Welcome to the Calgary Sessions. This is episode number 171. I'm your host, Jeff Humphreys. Before I get into it today, do me a favor and actually leave a review. Stars, some words, it would be appreciated. Today's guest, our mutual friend, probably new friend to you, old friend to me, Shep, did the intro. He's very interesting dude, very authentic, very genuine, meets a lot of people, and what he's really good at is serving people up to this podcast. He's so thoughtful, which I always appreciate. So name and who you are.
I'm Jamie Parker, and who I am, that's a tough question, hey?
It's not the like, what do you do for a living or like, what's your job title? It's way different.
Yeah, who I am. I think I'm just like an adventurer and a learner at heart. Like if there's a new skill that I can pick up or if there's something that I can learn, I think that's the key to life. Yeah.
There's a lady I had on the show. Her name's Candace Ward, photographer in town. Mm-hmm. Shot the Flames, Stamps, yeah. Roughnecks. She's the one that made me ask that question. Like I asked her some nonsense question to start it, and she was like number 53 or 54, and she called me out and said, well, who am I? So from that moment
Didn't they do that on Meet the Parents?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
really?
from Meet the Parents. And he's like, and the therapist asked him that.
No way.
Yeah, and he's like, no, who are you?
No way.
And it just gets out of hand, and then he gets stressed out. He's like, who am I? He's like, not your job. Who are you?
I'm gonna have to find that clip
now.
now.
It's so good.
I can reference that instead. Yeah. You've seen a few of these?
Yeah.
This will be cool. We laughed obviously off camera about Brian coming through your building. So I've known about you guys for probably 4 or 5 years now. But yeah, to actually hear the story and just to like talk to you for 10 minutes off camera, I'm like, this is going to be cool. So
yeah, totally.
Take this thing back. Where you grew up, how you grew up, parents, siblings, job, school, and we'll kind of weave a path to where you are today.
Totally. Where I was born in Brandon, Manitoba. Mm-hmm. My dad was in the military, so I kind of jumped all over. Quickly after that, we moved to Calgary. We're in the base when it existed in Calgary. And my parents split up at a pretty young age. So I was about 1 year old. My mom stayed here, and then my dad, when they shut down the base, he flew back to New Brunswick. And I think she gave him a little dilemma of like, hey, maybe you get stationed across the country and I'll let you see the kids. Mm-hmm. I don't really know the whole story, but so he got stationed back out in Kingston, Ontario. Mm-hmm. And then it was a pretty good situation. Obviously, like I was too young to understand like divorce and the whole thing, but my mom would always let us go back home for pretty much the whole summer. And it was awesome because I would kind of grew up my summers in Ontario bass fishing, and he lived on a little acreage as well, and he had a couple redneck buddies that would always take us down onto the river down there, and they had like an old aluminum John boat. Classic. And it had like 20 horsepower, and so we would kind of always kneeboard behind this thing through the lily pads, and there's water snakes there and garter snakes. And my dad was also he was a lineman inside of the military, so they would always bring their climbing stuff and play hide and seek with us when we were young. And they would like climb like a 80-foot tall tree, and we'd be looking around. And yeah, it was pretty wild. I think my dad at the younger age, he didn't have a whole lot. So camping was the next best thing, next cheapest thing. And we loved it. That's all we asked whenever we saw him in the summer. It'd be, okay, what do you guys want to do today? And I have 2 brothers and a sister. One younger brother, he was 10 years younger than me. Yep. But at the time, my older brother and my sister, every day when they ask us what we wanted to do, me and my brother would be like, we want to go fishing. And my sister's like, oh, no.
Again.
But yeah, she was a champ and kind of joined us. So kind of, I grew up in Calgary ultimately. So I went to school and kind of played hockey and sports kind of growing up in Calgary. And then kind of always went back home to New Brunswick.
Yeah.
When my dad moved to New Brunswick, finally, that's where his whole family's from. Mm-hmm. So go back every summer, help farm with his farming family. They're like potato farmers. And then come back home and go to school, play sports, do whatever in Calgary. So I kind of got...
It's interesting.
Like a unique like experience growing up where kind of had like farm experience, but also the city life.
Yeah.
So it was really cool in that sense. And then, yeah, played hockey pretty much my whole life.
What quadrant or what community were you in?
I lived in the Northwest. So I lived in Beddington, actually. I grew up in Beddington. Yeah. And then I played in the Northeast for a little bit. And when I was younger in like community, I played in McKnight. And then, and then kind of...
Was it all sport when you were a youngster? Like was school there, but it was like sport the driver?
Yeah, I think sport was a huge driver for me. My parents, I don't know, they didn't seem to be like too like school heavy. Yeah. None of my parents like went to university or anything. So that really wasn't on the radar for me. It was kind of more like hanging out with kids in the neighborhood, playing street hockey, going around, come home when the lights are on, get in trouble because you didn't, or, you know, that was kind of my upbringing, kind of in that like the last gen, I guess, like of coming home when like you had to call the landline. Nobody had cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone until I was 18.
Me too.
So thank goodness.
But it's interesting. It's interesting to think back to that time because it was so like, it was so simple.
So simple.
Like
and so freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't realize kind of like the old ball and chain of social media and networking now. So, but yeah, I went to Diefenbaker for high school. Yeah. Dief Chiefs, let's go.
And played sports in high school too?
Yeah, so I was actually quite overweight in grade 10. So I was quite overweight in grade 10.
Like weird growth spurt or something?
I don't know if it was through puberty or whatever, but I had some serious man titties. Like I remember my family, we went to Mexico. And I remember like seeing this picture. I had this iguana over top of my hat and I was like wet and I was like disgusted in myself.
Tough age though, man.
But, oh yeah. So I was like, I got to make a change. So like I got into high school. I was really like competitive still. And so then I kind of picked up, I played on the badminton team in like grade 10. And then I had a girl come up to me at the end of that year and she's like, Jamie, like, why don't you just play a manly sport? And I'm like, damn it. All right. So then I bumped over to rugby for grade 11 and 12 and loved that. I played like fly half and then, I kind of gave up hockey actually for a bit there when my mom and my stepdad, Myron, they got divorced and it just kind of seemed out of the picture for us. I was playing like June, what was it? It would have been, I got injured in midget AA tryouts at the one year. And then it was kind of, my parents got divorced that year and I was like, all right, well, if I'm going down now, you're like, once you bump out of that, like higher level hockey. And then I couldn't try out for the minor hockey either. So I would have been on like team 6 in house league. And I was like, no,
it's not, we're moving on.
Yeah. So then it was just sports in high school.
And did you have an idea of like coming out of high school, was there anything that interested you or were you just kind of...
Man, I don't know. I feel like I was pretty lost.
Like all the families, like that's a lot of...
family dynamic stuff.
Yeah, quickly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember, I've never really talked about this on a podcast, but when I was, how old was I? When I was 13, my mom, she was in a bad accident and she got hit kind of close to my house. And she started having like grand mal seizures and stuff shortly after. They're in like an old Dakota, like the old like 82 Dakotas, and they just like, they don't have any protection really. So anyway, she hit her head pretty bad. And then shortly after she got she got addicted to opioids, kind of like during that like crisis of like Oxycontin and stuff like that, and or codeine or whatever. So she got, for a period of my like teenagehood, she got addicted to opioids, and that was a huge like devastator, and that's ultimately like why my stepdad and her got divorced. And yeah, so she had a journey of finding herself, and I pretty much like lost my mom at the age of 13 overnight to opioids. Yeah, which is crazy, and like nobody really talks about that stuff. But
Well, and at the age of 13, right? Like there's a lot going on. You trying to figure your own stuff out.
Oh yeah,
and I can't imagine like add that into the mix. Like it's just
totally. Yeah, I always feel like when I look back on my life, there was like 3 to 4 years where I was like, don't really remember. Like almost you black it out. You're just you just kind of try to. You're young and you're full of hormones, and you're trying to figure your own life out, let alone like navigating all of this external family stuff. It's pretty wild. And especially now that I look back that I have a kid of my own, I'm like, holy cow. Like I couldn't imagine having that situation for my own family. Yeah.
To look back now, like I don't know how much time you spend looking back on that, but that time period, you could have gone a totally like a wildly different direction.
Big time.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
Because no guidance, whatever the lack of guidance and just that presence in your life, it could have gone sideways.
Yeah. I had one really good mentor, and that was my grandfather when I was growing up. He was just like hard charger. He was a gold miner. He was an engineer. He was really smart. He retired when he was 40, and like he bought a place out in Salmon Arm on Shuswap Lake. And we would go out every summer as well, kind of growing up. And he just always was like my like North Star, I would say. He always said, he'd always ask me every time he saw me, like even if we were walking through like the hallway, he'd be like, hey, are you dedicated still? And I never really understood what that meant, but like just kind of like put it into me, and then slowly mentored me. And he died at a young age of cancer at 64. So then I kind of lost him, and that was like when I was 15, 16. And, but it was enough to really keep me on I would say the path. Yeah.
That's interesting to have someone in your world say that to you.
Yeah.
If someone said it to me now, that'd be an uncomfortable situation, because you're like, fuck that. Like,
yeah. And you kind of look and you think about it, and you're like, what does that mean? Like to stay dedicated, and what are you like dedicated to what? Right. And I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's your personal values. It's who you want to be. It's the effort you give to things, the work ethic, the integrity, humility. Kind of, it's like it's an all-encompassing word. And I think that's why you used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you're that young, dealing with all that, were you quiet about it? Like were you like introspective about what you were kind of going through, or was like different side conversations, was all in your head?
My brother and sister were there as well, which was like super helpful. And I think we all just kind of hung out as a posse, like during that time.
Yeah.
And like you see other kids too, and they're going through a rough time. Like I don't think any kid's going through an easy time in high school. Like in all reality, dude, right?
They're putting on a show like it all works, but it really.
Yeah. And I always have this kind of like belief that like whatever is like the most painful thing to you is the most painful thing to you, and vice versa, right? I could get like a paper cut, but if that's the most painful thing I've ever experienced, it's equivalent to what you've experienced.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I've seen a lot less fortunate people as well, especially like as I've gotten older, traveled, done stuff too. So like, and it ultimately at the end of the day, it kind of forged who I am.
Yeah.
But when I was young, I didn't know that. So I felt a little lost in that time period. And I did have like, shout out to like my best buddies, Mike, Mark, and Kyle. Like they pretty much were like kept me on the straight and narrow. And I had a really good core. We had met in kindergarten, not all of us, but Mike, and then through sports and soccer, the other two kind of came into it. And yeah, we just always had each other's backs. Like if we need to go to one person's house, whatever, if you went to university and you didn't, like the other ones would just make fun of you until you went to university, right? Like they push you into things the hard way. And yeah, there was like a lot of nights where I would have to stay at Kyle's house or Mike's house or whatever. And they were always, their families were always welcoming. And I think I could see enough from the outside looking in, that like my circumstance wasn't normal, but that's okay. Right. And
it's okay. But like, it's okay now to look back on it. You know, who you are and where you are.
Totally.
But in the moment, dude, I was around, you know, growing up, so I'm born in 77, just to give you context on me, but like growing up through junior high and even high school, you see characters that have, you know, unfortunate family situations.
Totally.
And me, you kind of see it, but you don't really understand it. And as a youngster, you're kind of like, well, how, you know, when my home life is normal, you see characters kind of going through, and you're like, how is that even possible? Like what has to happen to get on that path?
Yeah. Yeah. I think about it a lot because I think I wouldn't be the person I am today. But I think when you have a kid, you're like, I would never want them to go through something like that. But how do I still give them adversity? Because it really, like, without going through a lot of that, like, you just don't have perspective, right? And I think that, like, when you know what the worst case scenario is, it gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. So, but I will say, like, yeah, that time was crazy. And then I came out of it. And, you know, I came out of it. I went to, I broke up with a girlfriend.
High school?
Yeah, in high school. And she dumped me. And she's like, you know, your family's kind of screwed up. You should probably go to therapy about that. And I was like, okay, maybe I should go to therapy. Like, maybe I'll give it a try. And so I went to this one therapist, and they were actually like beginner therapists. I forget what the program is here in Calgary. And it was like $10 a session. And I was like, okay, whatever, go check it out. I remember I went to this therapy session. I spilled my guts about my life to this therapist, and I left there feeling like I just spilled my guts to this random person who like really didn't give me any, like, I thought I was going to get like a playbook of like how to fix my life and how to do this. And I walked out of there and I was like, that was a complete waste of time. And I feel like an idiot for doing that. And then, but it was in that moment that I realized, I was like, oh man, they might have got me, because I realized I was like, nobody was going to solve my issues or forgiveness or whatever it was towards the wrongdoings in my life except for myself. Like unless I was able to forgive, put it behind me and move forward and just focus on, okay, what am I in control of? What am I doing? How do I progress? Like, it was kind of like an aha moment. And then I instantly in that moment, I was like, forgave myself, forgave other, like my parents or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm good. And it was the most empowering moment of my life. Yeah.
Wild.
Crazy. And I was like, damn it, therapy worked.
For $10.
Yeah.
She was right.
I was like, oh, dang.
So, is this in high school?
This was, I was just out of high school actually, and I was working full time. I've had like, so like when we're talking about jobs, I've probably had like 40 jobs.
I was wondering, as you're like telling the story, because as you know, as you're telling it, I'm like 13, you know, I'm like, well, there's, when you're that like structure isn't around you, you got to provide for yourself. So I'm sure there was like,
oh yeah,
early.
Yeah. I think I've never been fired from a job, and I've had probably over 40 jobs.
Crazy, man.
And like, obviously, like when I was young, one of my first jobs was a paper route. I think everybody has a paper route. And I also was playing baseball on our cul-de-sac one time, and we broke this guy's window, so I had to go pick up a paper route to pay it off. But he was a beauty, because at the end of it, when we went to give him money, he's like, don't worry about it. Yeah.
Good dude.
But yeah, so that was that. And then I worked at, so I lived up in Bennington, but when I was 13 years old, my brother got me a job at Cart Garden. Do you remember Cart Garden?
Rad, yep.
That's a...
Dude.
Yeah. Randy, What a beauty. Before labor laws were a thing, let's go. So I was 13. I was underage. Shouldn't be working probably at that age, but I would have to take the number 3 all the way down, get on the C train, pop over to Cart Garden, which was by Stampede Boot Co. And then for like 6 a.m. And I was 13, and I was fortunate enough because I could go with my older brother.
Yep.
And then because I couldn't like really like start the cars or make sure anybody was in like a helmet and stuff like that, so they just put me out in the middle on the grass patches, and I would be the guy that would like rewrite people when they hit the tires. Yeah, so like trying to lift up a double while you're 13. So I got pretty strong at a young age doing that, and then it just kind of evolved over time. Like, man, I've worked at Boston Pizza washing dishes. Man, the pasta Tuesdays on those like corrugated dishes, like
Nightmare. Kill
kill me now. Yeah, that's made a nightmare. So get rid of those for any new dishwasher there. And then, I like worked at a gas station attendant. As I got a little bit older, what else did I go into? I worked at the Winter Club, the Calgary Winter Club, for an awesome stint. Actually, when I was in high school, it was sweet because we got a free little membership.
Awesome.
And I like playing badminton and squash and stuff. So did that. Probably abused that system big time. So sorry, members there. But you helped out a young kid trying to figure it out. And then I got into kind of right out of high school, I got into utility construction, and I worked for a couple companies that we used to pull fiber optic cable and coax and stuff underground. And that's really where I started to cut my teeth in like the traveling and working world. We'd be up in Fort Mac and all over and working long hours. And I did that for 3 years, and kind of coming out of high school too. I didn't, for anybody out there that's like, you know, you need to have it figured out in high school. Like, you certainly don't. Like, I took applied courses. I didn't really challenge myself. I was really good in shop and mechanics and art, actually. But I just took my applied courses, and I remember I was like 2 years out of high school, and I was working full time. And I asked my one buddy, I was like, hey man, like, would you like to take a semester off and travel Europe with me for 3 months? And he's like, hell yeah. So he did. We saved up a bunch of money. I think it was like $3,000, maybe a little more than $3,000. But we traveled Europe at the age of 18, 19 there for 3 months. And that kind of like set my journey as well. I like got back after that trip. We were young. Like, back then you didn't have a cell phone that you could just put a SIM card in. Like, you had to bring like a mini laptop or go to an internet cafe to travel and use payphones to call people. But I got back after that trip, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to be wrenching my whole life and doing this. Like, I like it, but I want to go back to university. Or I want to go to university. Like, I think I'm smart enough to do it. And my buddies kind of like pushed me that way as well. And so next thing, I went back while I was working full time. I kind of took evening courses at Chinook College. And then I got like 3 scholarships after that to get into university, just with my like pure grades that I had done. And I was old enough now where I was mature and putting myself through it as well. So I took it serious. And then
were you natural though? Like, once you like applied yourself, it just clicked.
Yeah, anything, like, especially if like I have a goal, it doesn't matter. It could be OChem, like organic chemistry, and I'll figure that out. It's when you're lost and you don't have like that kind of North Star, it's tough. So I kind of, what did I do from there? So I went to Mount Royal to start. It was a 2-year transfer program. I got into kinesiology there. And I got into nursing, but I chose kinesiology. That was like my first, because I wanted to do a transfer. So I got the best of both schools, and I wanted to get like the full university experience.
It was MRC, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
No, at the time it was MRU. It was like the first year, second year.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was 2010. So went to MRU, 2 years, best. It was just awesome. Fun. And that's where I met Mike, my business partner. We both started up our own clubs I was rec crew for kids. So really we would just host parties. I'd be like roller skating, dodgeball, like whatever. And then we'd partner with like Desperados, like bars and stuff in Calgary. Oh yeah, I'm bringing back some old names. So we get all of our club people out and have these awesome parties. And then at the end of the year, we'd give all the proceeds to kids sport.
Cool.
And so that was good. And then Mike had his own, club.
Yep.
And so instead of doing it alone, we used to collaborate all the time.
Cool.
So we kind of actually met in like a business sense. So that's really how we kicked off our friendship. But
was that time of your life, like when you think back to those, like, was it the unlock time? Like, was everything like clicking? Were you kind of in a groove and think you were kind of things were half smooth?
Yeah, I think I remember when I was working full time, and I'd kind of like, for the first time in my life, when I went on that Euro trip at a young age, especially after everything, I was just like, I can do this. Like, it was confidence building, really, more than anything. And then as I started to execute on, Chinook College, upgrading, and then, getting both programs that I applied to in university and getting accepted into those, and then being a top student, it just kind of momentum builds. And then you're like, I'm unstoppable. Right. And so then you just like, and I was like, what am I afraid of here? Right. Where I'd already been through like enough that I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, either people are going to like me or they're not. And that's not my decision. Right. It's not up to me. So just going to have as much fun as I can. Right. And I'd spent enough time worrying about stuff for no reason that I felt like I was on this time ticker of needing to reclaim my like late teens and like my 20s. Like, I was not going to waste those years. So yeah, I was kind of like hell bent on making the most of it.
Squeezing.
Yeah. And so that kind of led me into, actually I thought I was going to go into medicine. I had like done well enough. Physio was kind of on the table, and kinesiology.
Yep.
And then medicine. And I was working at, I was on the pediatric emergency research team in the children's hospital. And I just I liked it, but like, I didn't like the work environment. I didn't like, how I was treated by a number of staff, as like a volunteer kind of in this research team. And so I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to work with 80% of people that I'm not respected by.
Yep.
So then it kind of pushed me down this path when I was at Mount Royal, where we heard about Wildfire Rappel. And it was this job that you could go and fight wildfires and jump out of helicopters every summer while you're in university, and then come back. And so that kind of like really spearheaded my like hardcore fitness journey as well. Yeah.
Crazy, man. It's wild.
Dude, I'm giving you like the Coles notes too.
Which I know, yeah, I can't imagine. Do you, that like freedom you had, like you'd kind of seen what it could be, right? You've seen this.
Oh, I got a glimpse.
Yeah. And now this like freedom to move forward and just like enjoy it and squeeze it, but actually to perform at such a wildly high level. What is that? Like, where does that, because when I'm hearing the story for the first time, there's a chunk of years there where it's survival and heavy things and there's a lot going on. And then when you decide to like execute, it's like game over. What is that?
It was, I don't know. I think it's something that's like born in you. Like, it's like an inner wolf or something. Yeah. But like, I really noticed, I found that person when I was 18. Actually, yeah, I was 18. I was working for this company called T1 Telecom, and they had a contract job up in Whitehorse for 6 weeks. And they asked me to go on it to install coax cable up on the power lines up there and kind of climb and do all that for that job. And they had a house, and I'd never been to Whitehorse, so I was like pretty stoked, although it was kind of in the summertime in June. So I was a little bit bummed that like I'd be kind of away from all of my friends. But, I learned a lot about myself being alone up there. Especially I was 18, so you can't drink in Whitehorse either. So like you couldn't really go into the bars or whatnot. And I remember like after high school, I just kind of felt like I had like a little bit of like leftover weight. I wasn't really like proud of myself where I was in like my fitness and everything. I knew I had more in the tank.
Yeah.
And so I went up there, and it's light for 20 hours a day. And we would get done every day at like 3:30 because we'd start early.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I going to do with my day? And I'm like alone in this house with a couple like 55-year-old men. And so they had, it was like the Winter Center or something like that. And it's like their native sports complex.
Yep.
And so I went and I got a membership for the month. And then every day I would just like force myself to run. And so if I wasn't in the gym there one day, the next day I would go running, and I would run. I knew nothing about running. I was like the heel striker king, and I would have like shin splints like you wouldn't believe. But my journey was to like get myself in shape and be proud of myself. And it did. 6 weeks. I remember I had a couple guys that there's one person that came up to me in the gym, and they're like, man, you inspire me. Like, I've never seen anybody like be here every day and work as hard as you do doing this. And like you could see the transformation in you. And I got back after that trip. I drove 17 hours in one day back from Muncho Lake to Calgary. And I got in trouble by my company. But I had to make it back for the last day of Stampede so I could hang out with the boys.
When you said June, I was like, I understand.
But they saw me after that, and they're like, who is this guy? And for me, it was just like this complete finding of myself. Like, finally I had like I was away from all the noise. And like up there at the time, you'd listen to radio and like they didn't play new songs. So I remember when I was like driving back, and I would like get closer to like bigger, like Grand Prairie even, and I was like, whoa, this music came out. Like, I was shocked. So yeah, it was just like, that was a big step in my life. I feel like that was like the make or break time. I was 18, and it cleaned me up and like just like showed me that like if you put dedication and persistence into something, that like there is an outcome on the other side.
When you decided to start jumping out of choppers and the fitness piece there, obviously you knew like it was going to be super demanding. And
Brutal.
you
Hardest
ratcheted
thing
it
I've
up?
ever done.
Like, did you know you had to like?
I knew I had to ratchet it up because my other buddy Dan Pound had done it the year before, but he keeps it kind of silent. Like, but I trained him the year before, and it was a lot of like, we did a lot of plyometrics, a lot of kinesthetics, and like sprinting and burpees and sprinting and burpees. Yeah. And I knew it was bad. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. That was hands down the hardest thing. I've run a ultra marathon. It doesn't even come close, like in the least bit. Yeah. So that was really cool. And I knew Dan had done it. He had gotten in, and he had shown me some pictures and videos, and I was like so hooked. And so that year I applied. Thank God I had 40 jobs, because when I was in the panel interview, I could just, I was like, what do you need experience with? So yeah, no, that was cool because I got in. It was a very competitive process at the time.
After.
And you apply, then you do a fitness test, and it's like a WFX fitness test where it's like this big 45-degree steep ramp, and you have to have like 65 pounds on your back. It's actually a tough test, and you try to run it. And so I did well on that. And then if you do well on the fitness test portion, then they bring you in for a panel interview. And I'm not exactly sure how many people applied to the rappel program. There's only 63 rappellers, 7 teams across all of Alberta. But that year, they only let in 25 people into the camp. And so I think you're competing with like probably 1,000 applicants, maybe 2,000. Panel interview, and then if you get through that, then you go to camp. And then I was in university at the time, so I had to like defer a couple exams, and actually I got them to proctor them for me. And yeah, man, I show up to Hinton Training Center in what year was that? 2012? 2012? Yeah, it would have been 2012. Show up to Hinton Training Center. This kid that is fit, excited, but scared, because like the year before I worked utility construction, and I told them I'm not coming back. for the next summer. So I burned the boats already, and like I was putting myself through school, and I was like, I have to make this. And the first day, like you go in and kind of they give you a little orientation. They show you like, here's the rappel tower, here's the campus, here's your dorms. We'll see you at 5:30 tomorrow morning. And you go down to the tower, and as soon as you get there, it's also snowing. This is like April 1st. Or like late March. What was it? It was late March. Yeah, they started like mid-March. And 5:30 a.m., door boots open, and you're running. And you go on runs of unknown distance, and from 5:30 until 7. They don't need to bring you back until 7. So you know, like most days it was probably between 15, 20K.
Yep.
And they would change it up every day. And it was in like the logging hills of Hinton, Alberta. And yeah, you don't know when you're going to get cut. And they kind of showed like, hey, we only need like 9 spots. So, first day we're there, guys are dropping off like flies,
No way.
shitting their pants while you're running. And you just like head down, like just get through one day at a time. And then, yeah, you get back 7 a.m. You pretty much hit the toilet, and you just like lose all of your bowels because like they told you like, it's not about how fast you go. It's how much hard you're working. So it's about heart. And so they know if you're like fit, if you're pushing it or not. And so, yeah, you go there, and then you go to the mess hall, you'd eat, and then it's to training. And with the rappel training, they kind of give you your whole rappel outfit, harness, and you start on the tower, and every mistake you make, you have to unsuit, and you have to do like 10 burpees or 10 chin-ups or run around or sprint or whatever, put it back on, make a mistake, take it off. So, and you're going up this tower, I think it's 176 steps or whatever, 100 feet all day long, making mistakes and unsuiting. And then you go for dinner after, you're just bagged. And then I'm like studying for my finals for like OChem and a number of other things at that time. But man, it was like the hardest thing I'd ever done, especially because it was a full probably 30, 35 days of this training program. And you see guys like they would just grab their stuff and midnight run at nighttime, and like they wouldn't show up the next morning, and it's minus 15, and you're like, another day. Okay, today we're hauling all of our rappel bags full of logs through swamp skag, and you're like crushing through ice, like walking for an hour and a half, get back, repeat. And yeah, just like, and you don't know where you stand in the group. Yeah. I remember this one day, it was like day 3, and I was feeling good. I was feeling fit. And we're like at the end of the run, and everybody gets a little pumped because you're like running back to the facility, and they're singing, I don't know what I've been told. And I was like, but this hill's getting fucking old. And the leader of the rappel program, Greg Adams, he turns around, he looks at me, he's, who said that? I was like, I did, sir. And he's like, everybody back up the hill. And so, yeah, it turned us all around. And that was a humble pie. I was like, shut your mouth and don't say another word. And I did. After that, I just head down and I just grit through it. But yeah, that pushed my body to the limit. I think I was like 185, 190 going into it. And by the end of it, I was 170.
Wow.
After, 5 weeks.
Crazy. It sounds like a fucking movie, by the way. Did you, like when you're in it, did you just have it in you to just not say uncle? Like just to keep going? Like you were, you were getting those spots, whatever that spot was, you were going to get it.
There was no plan B. I would die for that spot. Literally. I was like, I am doing this. I had not come this far. I've not trained this hard. I have not doing this to get rolled out because my stomach's upset or because I, don't feel too good. I was like crushing echinacea every night before I go to bed. I was like not getting sick. Ginseng powder. I was taking it back to the hockey days where you just crush the old ginseng powder back, eat a raw egg. Yeah, it was just like, I wasn't gonna going to lose, and only 9 of us made it through.
Wow.
Yeah, they only selected 9 because the bulk of them came back. So then they only select, and then they kind of at the end of it, they have crew pick, and they have their own fire god is what they call it, and they do like a big snake draft and a huge party, and they like snake draft their rookies, and they're kind of like. Then you're on like battery and cooler duty for the summer, and yeah, it was just it was the most incredible experience of my life.
When do you think about it? Is there anybody, like, when you think about your crew back then, your buddies, and, you know, do you think any of them could have done it? It's like, what? When I think about it, I'm like, nah, I don't think I could do that. Like, I'm smart enough to understand my limits, and like, that doesn't sound interesting, so I wouldn't give it. Did you ever think about it, like how it was you were operating differently?
No, I didn't.
You're just like, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. And it's just like,
I think I just had like an insatiable belief in myself to just not be in the same circumstance that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And so, I just had no fear of trying other things. Like, it didn't scare me to jump out of a helicopter. First time I got in a helicopter, I jumped out of it. And it didn't scare me. But like, you're so trained at that point too. Yeah. And I was just like, I just had this like lust for having fun and like being free and being in charge of my outcome. And that to me was like incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, unfortunately you had to figure all that out through not ideal situations, but then when you come out of it, it's like, now you're dangerous.
Totally.
Because now it's like, hey man.
Well, that's it. It's like, and at the same time, like, you're kind of nomadic when you do that. Like, you live with nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you live out of your vehicle. Like, they provide you sleeping arrangements and stuff like that. But like, you get off shift. You get off shift after a 15 or 20 day shift, and you're like, hey, like, we got 3 days to like, what are we doing? Right? Like, like, either where am I sleeping? What? So like, you're just kind of a nomad, and you learn to live out of like a go bag.
Yeah.
And always be ready. Like, one of our mottos is just keep your shit tight. Always, like, always be ready. And so, yeah, you're just kind of like, once you kind of live that life of like sleeping in a tent for 200 days of the year, and working 14-hour days and then getting up and like doing like, nothing matters. Like, I could sleep anywhere. And so I'm not too worried about, so that it empowers me to make more difficult decisions. Yeah. Right. To maybe bite off.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you can see it. You know what extreme work is, or extreme conditions. So like, you know, you're talking earlier about walking into the room and be like, yeah, I can, like, this is I got this. Yeah. It's that, right? It's just, you're operating from a different level. Like, your baseline's different than a lot of people. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what did that to me. I couldn't tell you. I think it's just like, I just have this like need to learn. And so I think that's why I had a lot of jobs too. Like, I wanted, and I didn't realize that I was going to be an entrepreneur until it like put itself in front of me. And I was like, I remember like, I talked to my brother about this the other day, but we used to go to like Safeway, and he would convince me to go down with him, and we would ask people to take their groceries back to the cars for them and unload it into their vehicles just so we could get the quarter to come back. And in high school, my buddy Kyle and we used to like import fake Abercrombie and those Ferrari Puma sneakers and sell them in our lockers. Like, this is all that stuff that like in hindsight, you don't, like in present, you don't realize that you're kind of have like entrepreneurial tendencies, but then you like look back and you're like, holy shit. Like, it was cooking the whole time.
Totally. Yeah. But tendencies is the word, right?
Yeah.
I love that word, because it's just, you know, when you're youngsters, not all of us do it. And but the ones that do it, they're just testing. It's just like these weird data points, and you know, maybe they're crossing some lines. It's kind of obscure.
Yeah.
But when you get to the spot you're in today, it's fun to be able to look back and be like, there are early signs of what this is. And the cool thing about this environment is, I think, to actually hear the little signs, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting, because then people actually understand there's like thousands of little things that led to this versus just being lucky and fucking having a good idea.
Oh man. I remember like coming out of university, I was feeling lost hardcore.
What'd you graduate with?
Bachelor of Science Kines.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did that, and I like remember getting out. Thank God I was firefighting, because like that, I could always go back. I'm I can always do this. Yeah. But it's also like a young man's game, because you work 8 months on and then you're laid off for 4, right? And so, and I knew I loved it, but I just didn't want to have to move to Edmonton to like, no offense to Edmonton, it just wasn't my place where I wanted to like climb the ranks internally. So yeah, I kind of like had this like moment. I was like, oh boy, like what am I gonna do?
Like stressful?
Yeah, it was stressful, because like I was seeing like other people my age, like they're getting in this oil and gas job and they're doing this and they're making 120 grand a year, and I'm like I'm making okay money fighting fires, but like I'm also gone for 8 months of the year, and like you can't go to weddings, you can't do anything, like birthdays, a girlfriend, whatever. Like, yeah. So I remember being like, what am I doing with my life? And like, do I want to pursue my degree? And I knew I didn't want to go into physio, because I just didn't want to touch old people all day.
Yep.
No offense to physios, but I just like, I knew the reality of it.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Or maybe I was scared to even apply to go in. But I was kind of going down the medicine route, but then that kind of threw me off, put me into firefighting. So I was like,
spot.
Like I'm in the spot, and I know a lot of young kids are in that spot, especially now and coming out of university. And you kind of like, you fed into this thing of like how important a university degree was and how it's going to change your life, and you're going to get a job as soon as you get out. And that's not the reality. And so I went on an elk hunting trip. Just for everybody, I'm like a pretty big outdoorsman, do a lot of fly fishing, hunting. That's like my like ultimate thing that brings me down, and like shows me how not important any of us are in life. Like the river will still flow tomorrow. But I went on this really cool elk hunting trip by myself for 4 days out near Sundre. And I would like stay out there, and I had like 4 days or 4 or 5 days by myself, and I'd never done that before. Normally I'd go with other people, and you don't have reception either. So you spend a lot of lonely time. I felt it very lonely. A lot of introspective time, and I like just sit there at night and wake up in the morning, and there'd be like a couple grizzly bears that like bust out, and you're like, oh boy. But it was like a really freeing moment for me. I like was on a herd of elk by myself for a number of days, trying to get in. Couldn't close the distance on this bull. Got him come in one time, but he was like a little too tight through the trees, and he busted out. And then my one friend came out, and we were just out there. And what we would do is where we were hunting, like it was easier to hunt them in the morning and evening, and then leave them for the afternoon as they bed in the tree line. So we'd actually go fly fishing during the middle of the day. So it was perfect. And we're just having the time of our lives, and we're like drinking this coffee. My buddy's name was Mark. We're drinking MJB from Costco in the green tin. It's gnarly. And we're having like just percolated coffee, and I'm like, man, this is it. I was like, this is what life's all about. Like, we're in the outdoors. It's just so beautiful. And like, maybe it was my age, everything. It just felt like I needed to find a way to showcase this experience to more people, and like the power of it. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, we could create a coffee company, and it would be called C4, Calgary Cowboy Coffee Company. And we're going to make percolated coffee, and we're going to do this and this and this, and we're going to show them the real outdoor experience. And so we kind of started, Mark and I were joking around. And it was kind of like our joke the rest of the trip of like, we didn't take it seriously. But I like kind of left that trip, and I started thinking about it a lot more. I'm like, man, I think I could make a brand that like captures that feeling. It's like everything tastes better in the outdoors. And like, how do we capture that, bottle it up, throw it on a shelf so that it can kind of elicit that emotional response to anybody who's buying it, which will then get them to remember like maybe a time when they were camping with their dad or mom or uncle or whatever when they're younger. And then it's like, I got to have that product. It reminds me of this and I want to try it. And if we could break that like barrier, then I was like, then we have a product. Yeah, and it started just to spin my head, man. And it was like, I couldn't get it out of my head for like 3 months.
No way. It was on you.
It was on me like white on rice. And then I started to like seriously think about it. And I went on another trip with my older brother. And I told him. And he's like, do it. He's like, what do you have to lose? He's like, you're 25. You're 24. Like, now's the time to make mistakes. And so, yeah, I kind of just started to figure it out. And I had no business experience. Like, I'm telling you, what's a business plan? Like, what's bookkeeping?
Zero.
What's, like, I didn't know what a balance sheet was or a profit loss report. Or, like, I knew nothing. And so then I just kind of reached out to a couple of people and I'm like, hey, do you know how to start a business? Or do you know anybody who knows how to start a business? And they kind of pushed me down and like found this guy named Steve. He's like a family friend. He's like, well, I own a recording studio, but he's like, it's not really a business. And he's like, number one thing you need to do is start a business plan. And that, it was good advice because it like got me to like start to answer questions like, what are my demographic? And I don't believe in business plans personally, but it was good when you don't know anything. Yeah. And that's kind of how
it's interesting when an idea shows up in that environment, right? Like when you're kind of questioning things, you're maybe feeling lost.
Yeah.
But the idea of like sitting in nature has been coming up on a few podcasts lately that I've recorded.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just this quiet time in nature.
I have it trademarked, so watch out.
But and as I, you can imagine I get into some of these conversations I get into are like fascinating for me because it makes me think about things differently. But the idea of sitting in nature and just like
boredom,
quiet.
sitting with boredom.
Yeah.
So it's actually believed, I think it's like there's two sides of your brain, and I'm not sure if it's the left or the right, but eventually when you get into like a hyper bored state, your creative side of your brain starts to actually go into overdrive and start to work. And that's where a lot of, they think a lot of like these philosophers like Edison and, or just like super geniuses.
Yep.
Like they just spend a lot of time wandering. And it's when you're wandering and it's when you're kind of alone that you truly unlock the potential of your mind. And so that's kind of where I started. Coffee, like it doesn't sound crazy, but it wasn't coffee. Coffee was a vessel to like do it in. It was more other people need to experience this because I think it's like probably the most profound thing that anybody can. So it was kind of like, it did come from that 4 or 5 days of me just sitting in utter silence and like having these really like spectacular experiences, like having a cow elk come right up to you like 5 feet away and like whatever, but you can't share it with anybody. And then you're like, oh, so then you kind of like think about that and you're like, what am I doing with my life? I'm in love class right now. I'm supposed to be.
When you, when Steve says do a business plan and you start kind of digging into it a little bit, like how long, did you have something else on the go? So you kind of got two things on the go, and like how much time is this occupying? Is it all the downtime you have that you're putting into this?
So it was 2014. I kind of had the come to Jesus moment. And then it was in September, actually. It was like during bow season. And then I thought about it for like 3 months, and it was kind of around like October, November. And I started dabbling in October because I like just kind of needed to, I needed to know. What was I missing out on? And he kind of started me down that path. And I was like, dang, I got to go this alone. Like I've got this idea. Mark's not going to leave his geology job to do this with me. And I started kind of thinking on it more and more and more. And then I went on another trip where I brought Mike hunting, and I kind of pitched this. We're up in the Wilmore Wilderness Park, kind of by Hinton actually. And it was his first hunting trip. He had never done it. And he like stumbled on this big boar grizzly bear by himself. Like, it was pretty crazy. But I kind of told them the one night, I was like, this is what I'm thinking. And they all loved it. Greg and Jer and Mike. And then it kind of stuck with Mike. I didn't really bring it up after that. I just said like, hey, this is my idea. This is what I'm thinking of doing. This is the concept behind it. And then it was a couple months after, as I started to build out my business plan a bit more, I like called up Mike because he was being a ski bum. He had gotten out of a bad relationship, and he's like, I'm going to go and be a ski bum. Like, this is my time to shine. And I went to Fernie during their like rainy winter that year. Poor guy. But he was like, he worked there in like I forget exactly what he did. It's like some coordination, like marketing coordination or whatever. And he had his like traveling Canadian. He was a traveling Canadian vlog at the time, and he would like go to Thailand and do stuff. But he was kind of lost and kind of doing his own thing. And I called him up one day, and I'm like, hey man, remember what I told you about like the coffee thing? I'm like, I know you love to travel, and I was like, there's probably no better excuse for us to travel than in this job, and I think you'll get to see like a lot of the world. Which he hasn't yet. Sorry, Mike. But kind of went down that, and I was like, would you want to partner with me on this? Like, we ran our clubs and we were studs doing that. Like, what do you think? And he's like, man, it's been on my mind ever since you told me. He's like, I never thought you were going to ask. And he's like, 100% I'm in. So then I would like go down to Fernie and bring my little countertop roaster, and I'd do that. This is when we were laid off in the off season in Wildfire. Plus, I was also like, I was in my last semester, 2014, and I only had like 3 option classes left. I left the 3, and I was in like love class, classics, and some other
basic.
Like
you were coasting.
I was in like Photoshop. Yeah. So I was like. I'm coasting. Like, I don't even need to go to class. So I did that. And then we went back, and I got him into Wildfire as well. I got him to apply so that he could make some money the next season to start up the company. And then it was just, we worked that summer, and we had the biggest ideas of grandeur. We're like, we're going to open up a coffee shop, and we're going to do this and e-commerce. And then we're going to get into every grocery store as well at the same time. And that summer we kind of like really whittled it down. We're like, yeah, the bank's not going to give us any money. We've got just like, we have no proof of concept. Okay, we're just going to start e-commerce in the fall. And so, yeah, we saved up all of our money, and we threw 10 grand into the company and started in, what was it, October of 2015.
Crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, I didn't want to leave Wildfire, but it was getting a little political for me at the time. Like, it just seemed like levers were being pulled on our, not on behalf of our crew's interest, that I didn't really jive with. And I think I had put 4 years in, so I was like, it's a young man's game too. Like, you could do it for a long time, but it doesn't have the flexibility like maybe in California or Idaho or Montana, where you can kind of live at home and do it. Like, you're like in northern Alberta for 8 months.
Yeah, that's a sacrifice.
Yeah, Fort Chip.
The ecom play. Why'd you go there? What was the...
I think we were young, and we knew that like ecom was kind of on the up and up. And like at the time there was only like Squarespace and Shopify. Or like Wix, but like Wix was kind of trash. And no offense to Wix, but there was also like WordPress, and we're like, hell no, we're not doing WordPress. Like, so yeah, we started with Squarespace initially, and we realized that we didn't even have a roaster.
Yeah. How do you
we had no idea what we were doing.
Okay.
Like I had roasted on like these little countertop roasters during my, like while I was in Wildfire, and I'd bring green beans out and we would roast them out on the fire line.
Yeah.
We'd brew up cowboy coffee, whatever, but it wasn't like consistent profiling, all this kind of stuff. So we decided, okay, we sat down with one mentor when we got done that season, and he's like, what are you good at? What do you like doing? What are you good at? What do you like doing? And he kind of divvied up our roles immediately. And he's like, okay, you're going to focus on operations, like the production of the product, and then this, and this.
Yeah.
And then you're going to focus on the marketing aspect of it. You're going to focus on, sales. And then we kind of came together. And then Mike and I actually lived in the same house, and it was his mom's house. And I lived in like the unfinished basement with all of my deer heads on the insulated poly walls, and my bed in the middle. And I was like, I can never bring somebody down here.
Fucking kill room.
It was a Ted Bundy room for sure. And so we lived in his mom's house when she was Freedom 55ing for that year.
Yeah.
And we would wake up every morning and just get after it, and then work on the company. Kind of, we didn't have to go to work because we had kind of saved up a little bit so that we could carry ourselves through until the next season. And hopefully we need to go back to fire. So we just work on the business all day, and then we'd watch Hell on Wheels at night. And we used to have Bohannon's, and like we'd have like a big glass of gin and tonic and just be like, yeah, we're building something. But so we did that for like, say the first 3 months, and I would be out in the garage roasting on these little countertop roasters. They only did 130 grams at a time. And we're selling 454 gram bags, like a pound bag. And I'd be running like 6 of these machines because we had bought a roaster, but it was on its way from overseas. And we had seen this company in the US that was importing these machines and relabeling them and then charging like 4 times for them. And they're like 20 grand. And I'm like, hell no. So I went on like Alibaba and I found that machine, and then I just wired the money. And we didn't hear from them for 3 months. And we're like, we're done. We're dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's gone. But we roasted on these little countertop roasters for the better part of 3 months until the big one finally showed up. And that kind of kicked us off. Yeah, we did a pre-sale.
Okay.
We did a pre-sale.
Friends and family are like...
It was October to November, that whole month. We opened up the website so people could have access. And then it was like, you ordered, and then we would ship it in November. But we had no idea. We didn't even have our green beans. We just put them on there. Yeah. Start now.
Were you concerned at all? Like, did you trust what you were doing was the thing? And like, it was just...
Yeah, I think I had kind of like had enough experience roasting at that point, like with this little thing, that I could figure it out. And I was reading a number of books as well, like Scott Row's Roaster's Companion. And I kind of understood what I was trying to achieve. But it wasn't really until we got our bigger roaster where I could start to get consistency, really profile out the flavors. And a lot of it comes down to, you're trying to caramelize sugars inside of the coffee, and that's what gives it the ultimate flavor that you're going to be tasting. So
crazy, man.
Yeah, but so we did that for like, what was it, the better part of 3 months, and then we got our big roaster in. We had to drive to the rail yard, and they like loaded it onto Mike's truck, and we're like, yes, we've done it. And we bring it back, and it's a propane roaster, and we're running in his mom's garage, but it's like a house that's connected with another house. I don't even know what you call those.
Like a duplex?
It's like
a side by side?
It's like a duplex, but much bigger.
Okay.
It's like a full house attached to another full house.
Oh, crazy.
Like with a double car garage and everything.
Oh, wow.
And it was up in Cougar Ridge. Anyways, but I'd had this sucker piped out of the garage, and it was bellowing smoke. And I'm like, we're going to get the fire department called on us, like doing something sketchy. It's going to look like we're doing something sketchy. We're just roasting coffee without any AHS permits or anything.
Details.
Yeah. I'm like, whatever. Beg for forgiveness.
Exactly.
And So we're doing that, and then we were like realizing, okay, like we need to go to like a farmer's market and sell this stuff now. Like we're doing okay online.
Just word of mouth. Like it's just word of mouth.
Just
People-
word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just charging as hard as we can.
telling everybody-
young studs just trying to like get after it and don't have any idea. But it's euphoric when you're in the beginning because it's like everything's new and the learnings are coming so fast.
Yeah.
Like even like your security agreement or you're like on your website or like just stupid things like that, right?
Yep.
And ChatGPT didn't exist then
Hell no.
either. So we get kind of like on this snowball and I'm roasting in the garage and we can roast way more now. So I'm not running like 6 of these things playing musical chairs to make a pound. And things are going well, but we're starting to like turn through a little bit more volume. We had bought a couple big bags of green coffee as well earlier, working through those. And then one day the neighbor came over and she's like, you know, I'm smelling something really funky coming through the wall. Like, what are you guys doing over there? And I'm like, paranoid as all. I'm like, shit, we're busted. Like, we're busted. AHS is going to beat down the door. Like, they're going to, they're, I'm like, it's over, Mike. Like, we need to move the roaster. And so then I started roasting at night only, like in the dark, like under headlamp. Like I'd have my like headlamp from fire. And it was like roasting. I'm like, this is getting out of control in like minus 30. So I reached out to an old friend of mine named Rocco who owns La Dolce Vita Pizza Bar.
Oh, yeah.
And so we probably shouldn't say this stuff. So I'm like, Rocco, I used to bartend there when I was in university.
Yeah.
And I was like, Rocco, can I bring our coffee roaster into like your back laundry room
It's a traveling roaster.
and pipe it in so that we can get our AHS permit? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And he's like, you can operate out of there for free. It's not a big deal. And his dad's named Franco. And so we go down the one day and I like take a look at it and it's literally like a shoe closet. Like it's full cinder blocks, no windows, nothing. And you're not allowed to run propane inside of a building. And it's just a couple washer and dryers in there. And I find like some old HVAC pipe up there. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go out there. I'll pipe this puppy out of there. No big deal. And so AHS comes down the one day because they want to like inspect to see what we're doing. And I didn't bring the big roaster. I brought the small countertop roasters and I just put them under their hood vents. And they're like, this is all you're doing? And I'm like, yep, this is all I'm doing. Small batch. And so they're like, okay. They sign off on it. I'm like, all right, perfect. Next day, that evening, we're hauling in the big roaster, plumbing it into this place. And man, we that was a sweatshop in there, that's for sure. Like I was just like roasting in there and it's just hot. And it was connected, we didn't realize, but that pipe was connected to their fridge inside the building. So they're like walk-in fridge. And so a couple times it tripped it because of the heat coming off the roaster mixing with the heat coming off of that. It would like it would trip that, and then Rocco would be all pissed at us. And I was like, oh. So we got to a point eventually, like I was like, okay, we got to get the hell out of here, Mike. And
Grab the roaster.
yeah, oh yeah, it was just wild. But that's kind of how our journey started, man. It's just like two kids that didn't know what the hell they were doing, just trying to figure it out.
So it's like some might say it's a classic startup, like entrepreneur kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think truth be told is that doesn't happen very often. I think there's other ways to go about it.
Oh.
These classic stories though are just like,
if I could take my 10 years of experience now and distill it, I would never do that ever again.
Yeah, totally.
But being naive is so important for young entrepreneurs because you wouldn't get into it if you knew. You just wouldn't. So yeah, but it's kind of from there, man. We just it's been awesome, but it wasn't easy. Like we didn't pay ourselves for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
I drove a school bus. Like when I got out of Wildfire and we were running the company, I was like, oh shit, like we were just recycling funds back into the company so we could keep it going. And came to a point, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like I need a job to like make at least $2,000 a month so I can survive. And I was like, well, if the company fails, maybe I'll join CFD. And so I need to get my class 2 anyways.
Yep.
And then combined with my Q ticket, which I already had, I was like, this would be perfect. So then I went to first student and got a job. And then I became like the city's youngest school bus driver at 25 or whatever to this French immersion school. And I'd show up and I'd be like, assieds-toi! Tout le long, silence. I'd have to ask these like kids in grade 1. I'd be like, how do I say sit down now? And they would kind of coach me. And then I'd never been sicker in my life doing that. The first 3 months, like 71 kids getting on with snotty noses. Oh boy, but I was bulletproof after.
Bulletproof. Superman.
Oh yeah.
To do that though, like it's a sacrifice to go down that path, right?
Oh yeah, man.
And
everyone doubts you in life.
Totally, because it doesn't.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Doesn't
My
make sense,
girlfriend
right?
was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. Like you.
It's fun to start a business, maybe like have an idea, but when it comes time to make that decision to keep the thing going,
yeah,
different gear.
Everyone's like, what point do you jump in? The point you can afford to jump in.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was tough, but I wasn't afraid to do it though at the end of the day. Like I was like, it is what it is. It offered me the flexibility where I could go pick up the kids in the school bus, drop them off, and I'd be working on my business by 9.
Yeah.
And fortunately enough, Mike and I were able to find this guy named Jorge to do all of our toll roasting. So we actually switched over to a toll roasting model, and we kind of gave him our profiles, and then he roasted and pegged everything.
Yeah.
We made like no margin, but we could sell it.
Yeah.
And so that's what Mike and I did during that in-between time. And Mike worked for ATCO in the evening, and he served for them, and he did YYC cycle.
Oh, yeah.
He spun as well.
Yeah.
So like, man, we were trying like anything, but you get so many unique experiences in those early years when you're starting up, like invites to things that you're just like on cloud 9. You're like, I don't care. Like I'll go down with the ship, right? Like I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to pay myself. And at least we had that mentality, and just grind. And then it wasn't until we opened our shop up actually where I jumped in for the first time.
Which is how many years into it?
That would have been 4 years in, 4.5. Yeah.
So that's like
2019.
That's a chunk of time to be
I'll never
dedicated
get
to
that
this thing,
back.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and so do you think how we experienced at a young age, work ethic, dedication, self-sufficient, self-reliant, all these things you learn at a young age lets you grind through 4.5 years.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you didn't know it at the time that you had all these tools to do it, but 4.5 years to do the thing, it's an interesting age too, right? I'm sure your friends, like you said earlier, married, kids, cars,
I'm watching
jobs,
them, and I'm
RSPs, all the things.
Yeah.
And here you
they're
are.
like, they're saving our RRSPs and
Yeah.
RESPs. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
All the P's.
I wish I could throw some money into my RRSP.
But like when you're in it, it's interesting having a partner, that you trust that's in it with you.
Yeah.
Does that take the edge off, or is it?
That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Mike and I always say that. We're like, without each other, like this would have been a brutal. But like when I'm in my low spot, he's in his high spot, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I think also like I didn't have like a really supportive partner at the time, like not Mike, like my girlfriend.
Yeah.
She was kind of always questioning, like, is this gonna work? Like, is it? And I'm like, yeah, just one more year, right? And like, just like it is crazy, like, and then eventually, like, I couldn't see it, like, but you can't have people like that around you.
No.
You need supportive people around you
Yeah.
that truly believe in you, and even if they don't believe in you, they're okay picking up the pieces.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of where that went, and so we kind of broke it off. An 8-year relationship. Company broke us. Broke the relationship, which was the best thing ever, because that really pushed me to find my wife now, who's a physician of all things, who I didn't yeah, so that happened at the Calgary Stampede. Met her in 2018, and
Amazing.
yeah, she whisked me away.
It's interesting though, like when you're with somebody for that long and things start to change, right? Whether you don't become a different person, but there's a twist, just a slight twist to who you are. Like when you have this dream, you're chasing this thing, you're driving a bus just to like make things work. Like
Totally.
it's different.
It is. It is different. And like you need, I wouldn't expect anybody to truly understand like what anybody's going through, but I think you need a lot of commonalities, and whether that's work ethic, whether that's adventuring, because like those are always the things that you can always come back to in a relationship.
Yep.
That like really are the grounding foundational things. So like I was lacking that definitely in that relationship, and I think you just keep it going because you don't know better, or you're scared to, or whatever. But yeah, I made a vow to myself I would never kind of want to get into another relationship with somebody who wasn't like truly on my path. Of like, I'm talking mountain biking, fishing, hunting, and all of it. I was like, I'm not going to be with somebody who, isn't kind of going down my train tracks. Yeah.
Which is tough to find.
Very tough to find.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in your world like, how the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. I like really lucked out. Never went on like any Tinder or anything like that, but like it was crazy. Like I met Joe, like 3 months actually after I got out of my relationship, and I was not into dating. I was not in the spot, but like this chick was like mountain biking, backpack camping. Like I was like, who is this? I was like, these girls exist. You know what I mean? Like I was like, what?
Yeah.
And like independent, self-made, like everything. I was just like, man, this chick's cool. So yeah.
After 4.5 years, things are changing personally. Something happened around then? Like where does the business start to kind of pivot?
Man, we had, I would say, 2017, we went to District Ventures and we kind of did a small business accelerator with Arlene Dickinson.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't take any money or anything, but we took all the lessons and all the mentorship that came out of it. And it was good. It was like really got us out of our own ways and gave us a good crash course. So over the next 2 years, we're like on a hard charging path. In 2018, we decided to take an opportunity with Undercard Boxing Studio, Joanna Magic.
Yep.
They were running Undercard and their cafe was failing inside of there because they're two entirely separate beasts. And so they're like, hey, can you guys come down and maybe we'll do like a royalty on like whatever you make, that like a percentage of that can be rent.
Yep.
And so we're like, sure, we can cut our teeth actually doing the physical storefront space without having the equipment or whatever. Like that's all yours.
Yep.
So we branded that out, and that kind of gave us like a good opportunity. And we were fortunate at that time because we had a little bit earlier, we had poached Allie from Analog, who's one of our co-owners now.
Yep.
And she had a ton of experience with Analog running their 17th Ave location.
Yep.
So we kind of like pushed her into that. Mike and I stayed on sales, marketing, and then we started to run a little coffee shop, and it kind of gave us the experience. And as we're building momentum for the company, to look for our own space. And so kind of over that next year, we were looking for a space that was cheap, but like in a cool location.
Yeah.
And
so easy to find.
Something that I could build out. And so, man, we finally, we had a couple spots that we went through. There was one in Kensington, but like kind of by Vendome, a little bit down from it.
Yeah.
And then the Snowden block popped up one day, and we went in, and I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, this is it. This is it, man. Same intuition that we got our ranch. It was like, I just knew. But so we worked on that deal. The old owner went bankrupt. That we were going to do the lease with. So that went through receivership.
Yep.
And then the receiver, they finally came to the table, and then we were able to get a deal across. And we had done ATB Booster earlier that year, and we had created a really good relationship with our banking partners. And I got to give a shout out to Pat McClellan. I play ball with him now, but he's just a beauty. He was like a VP there. I forget exactly of what department, but he helped underwrite that loan for us to buy the equipment off of our toll roaster at the time and outfit our entire space and run our production in there. And it was, I think at the time it was like $300,000. But Mike and I had no personal net worth. Like, we're like 27 now after we had just gotten out of university. Like, I'm like, no, we have negative net worth, actually. Like, let me tell you, we owe the government. And so yeah, we kind of, the ATB came back and they're like, guys, like, you can't even meet we did a CSBFA, which is a Canadian small business loan or whatever, and the Fed government backs it 75% on security, but ATB backs the other 25%, and we couldn't even meet the 25% of that. And so they're like, I don't know if we can do this. And Pat's like, just leave it with me. And he underwrote it himself. He's like, good luck, boys. And like, that was it, man. Sometimes you get lucky, but it's about your relationships as well. And that kind of kicked us off. And then I GC'd it. And I took all the floorboards out of the dirt basement that was down there. It used to be a grotto back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s.
Crazy.
It was like a grotto, whiskey grotto. And so there's like, it's engraved in some of the old Doug fir floorboards. So I took them all up, and then I built all the tables and furniture for our space out of it.
Amazing.
And then we kind of like, feng shuied it.
Do you think it's luck? Like, I know it's based on relationships. There's timing. There's so much to it, but
no, I don't think it's luck.
There's something else, right?
There's an energy out there. I don't know what to call it. I'm a big believer in it, but I think it's like when you meet somebody, you just know right away. You're like, I get this person, or I don't like this person for whatever reason, or I don't want to be around this area. And you feel it in the wild a lot when you're hunting. You know when a cougar's looking at you, or and I'm not talking like a 45-year-old lady, maybe older. I don't know. What's a cougar? What's the cougar range? But yeah, I think it comes down to energy for me. Like, you just meet certain people that you're like, oh, I got something to learn from this person, or they're kind of switched on, or you know, whatever it is. And I think if you put that out into the world for long enough, it's gonna come back. And a lot of the time, if you meet that same energy, it amplifies. Right.
It's a different way of thinking, right? And it's, the word, I like to use the word gray. I had a lady down here, Sandra Wig, wrote a book, The Power of Gray Thinking. It's kind of rooted in creativity and just not black and white outcomes, but this idea is doesn't get talked about a lot. You know, some people think it's like woo woo, or like, no, there's something there though, right? Yeah,
it's an intuition aspect as well. Like, leaning into something, like, you're making educated guesses on everything, especially when you're building a business. But like, you know, when we bought our warehouse and we couldn't afford it, and we dumped all of our cash flow into it, like, that was on that intuition. It was like, no, like, this is going to be the right call. So
risky though, right?
Oh man, like, it never ends.
You and I could have a different conversation about the warehouse idea, right? That could have been the thing that put you back 10 years, but
you're absolutely right.
But now it's not.
Yeah, and even the coffee shop, like, Ramsey was kind of like,
it was early,
right? Like, and so we had started that up, and man, 2019 was awesome though. We had a good grand opening. It was gangbusters, and then 2020, baby.
Not in the business plan.
Bam. Who would have thought that all of our staff would want to go on CERB? Was it CERB? Yeah. So then Mike and I, and that was crazy. We jumped into it. My business partner, Allie, at the time too, her dad had cancer, so she unfortunately she went home to Quebec for like 6 months. So it was just Mike. All of our staff left us. And I ran all of our operations, worked like 14-hour days for 3 months, 7 days a week. And while Mike ran the coffee shop, and we would be making like $200 a day. But then it started to pick up because people found out that we were like the cool spot, that like you could come in and like just like loiter a bit and like
Not get rifled out.
yeah, not get rifled out. And like, yeah, I think we had like 3 infringements on mask policy, whatever.
The interesting thing, obviously, I've said this earlier, but like hearing the story for the first time, to work 14-hour days for a duration of time,
Whatever.
not a thing, right?
No.
You're set up to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's why this thing worked.
Yeah, I think it comes down to work ethic.
Yeah.
Straight up. It's grit and perseverance. And like, you know, I mentor some young guys and like they kind of fall off the bandwagon after 3 months. I'm like, no, it's day in, day out. Like an 80-year-old tree is as big as it is because it took 80 years to get that big. Like, yeah, you're going to go through years of drought, years of plenty, years of cold, harsh climate, everything. And I just kind of look at life like that. And I always kind of go through and I'm like, what next chapter am I going to try and write for myself? Like, what's next? Like, I've done this. Now I'm proficient. Okay, what scares me, right?
And you give that thought? Like, do you
All the time. All the time.
Do you have a process for it? Do you write it down? Do you just like leave it in your head? Do you say it out loud to a few people and just let it kind of manifest? Or
I kind of... I just think about it too much.
Yeah.
I think about it often. I keep it silent. And then I just wait certain times, certain things like I'll execute on, other things I'll just kind of wait. And like, I know I'm going to execute on it when the time is right. But yeah, I just try to, I kind of separate my current business and all that stuff from like other dreams now.
Yeah.
Like before, like the business was the dream. But as you evolve and grow, like you start to be like, you know, I just got back from Utah a couple weeks ago. I was in Moab mountain biking, which is sick. And I got back and I was like, what am I doing this all for? I kind of had that feeling. Like I was like, yeah, it's great. And then like reality kind of comes back in, but you're like, society's got us twisted up, man. And I think about that a lot. I'm like, how can I have my cake and eat it too? And so that's where I'm pushing our business more than ever now. It's like, I want it to work for not just myself, but all of our staff, and like everybody, our customers. How we can, you know, if you want to work a 4-day work week or 3-day, like, okay, how's that possible?
Right.
Okay. It's just a problem, but we can solve it, especially now that we're professional problem solvers.
All day, every day.
That's our job, right? So yeah, I think about that a lot. For myself, like, I think I'm just a life learner. So like in 2020, when COVID happened, we had bought our property in 2019, my wife and I, and we kind of live west of Millerville. And yeah, we got in before it was crazy expensive. And we have 40 acres out there and we're pretty blessed. But I always wanted to build a barn, and I'd helped my dad. He had a barn out in New Brunswick, and I helped him help redo the foundation, fix it up a little bit here and there. And I was like, fuck, this scares me. Like, I don't know if I can. Like, that's a big project. I'm talking like a 40 by 50 foot monitor, 2-story barn. And I just like, at the time COVID happened, timber prices came up. And so I bought a mill, and we had 200 trees that blew down on our property, and started pulling trees out, and I started milling, and I was like, okay, we're going to do it. Here we go. And instead of spending $150,000 that I didn't have on a barn, I was like, maybe we can do it for 50 or 40 or whatever. And so, yeah, we bought a $5,000 mill, and I got milling. And good thing I was bored.
I was gonna say,
right?
Yeah, time to do it.
Yeah, so it was perfect. And yeah, so I built this pretty cool monitor style barn, and yeah, and then just kind of went from setting poles to not knowing how to square out a building that big, and then pouring the piers and foundation for that, to putting up the walls, like the girders, then the stringers and the joists, then the roof and trusses, and stressing about like snow load. Like I never thought I'd ever stress about snow load in my life. Like why would I? Like I own a coffee company. But yeah, I was like, well, if my family's in there one day and there's, I don't know, a couple 1,000 pounds of snow, are these going to snap? What's the rating? How long do they have to be? I don't know. I just had like this curiosity. And then I get into these projects where it takes so much like mental capacity that it's like, and I just put it in the back pocket and I'm like, okay, got that. On to the next thing. Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's how you're wired, hey? Like,
yeah, I just gotta like things that scare me, I lean into. You know, I did have toxoplasmosis though when I was younger. And you get it from cat poop.
Okay.
So it's a virus. I don't know if it's a virus or a bacteria. I think it's a virus. Might be bacteria. Anyways, it comes from cat poop, and what it does is it affects your like frontal cortex, and it turns off it creates inhibition of fear or like being scared or whatever. So they give it to mice. So mice will actually come around the cats, and the cats can just eat the mice willy-nilly. So yeah, it makes them not afraid of cats. And it's kind of an interesting thing. So what happened is it shows up, but it shows up in your like optic nerve. And it was close. It was on my like retina, or it was on my, what's the wall? It's the retina. Yep. And it was close to my optic nerve, but it died there. So I have like a little scar back there, but they saw it when I was like older, when they could finally like 360 view your eye. And I was like, oh shit. So yeah, but there's a study out there that a lot of entrepreneurs have had toxoplasmosis, and it was actually very prevalent back in like the Industrial Revolution because of cleanliness and cats just all around. It's a little bit less now, but that's why they say like don't take newborns near cats or in sandboxes. Make sure they're covered up so cat litter can't get into them. It's from toxoplasmosis. Wow. But I think what it has done is it's kind of switched off like my fear center. Not like I can rationalize with fear, but like when I can weigh the pros and cons, and the cons really aren't that bad. I'll just jump into it.
When you get to be around other business owners or other individuals, and I'm sure people are asking you for, what do you think? Or how'd you do this? Like, you're coming at it from a different angle, right? Like this fear thing's interesting, having this like wild work ethic. Like there's so many different layers to who you are. How do you start the conversation? How do you get into a conversation with somebody that's looking for the answer? You're like, well, fuck.
Just say, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Usually that's how I do it. Like in any of our groups or whatever, I'm like, what's your real problem? Like what's actually like bugging you, keeping you up at night? Because like all the other shit's noise.
Yeah.
Like let's figure that out, and then we can work through it. And I think it's just like, you know, just run it through process of elimination. I just kind of like almost like flow chart it in my mind. I'm like, okay, problem here. Okay. There's only so many options to like come to a solution. Right.
Yep.
I think the hardest thing is to create forward thinking in people. Like how do you teach that? It's hard.
Yeah, I don't know. That's sometimes you can't. I don't think it's.
Yeah, they gotta want to, right?
Yeah,
you have to have like this inner motivation to understand the reason why, or the question.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
the next question that comes after.
With where you're at right now, is it all clicking? Are you in an interesting spot right now, or is like, how do you know, again, I've heard these moments in time where you're feeling different feeling different things, but like right now, where we sit today, what's got you? Are you in a groove right now? Are you looking to learn something, or you're like, where are you?
I feel as lost as ever, if I'm being honest. I think I know I'm putting effort in, and I know it's leading somewhere, but I don't know the answer to life. I don't know what's going to be next. I know like what I can control in this, but I'm excited about that. Like, I don't like people talk about retirement and stuff. I'm like, that's disgusting. Like in my mind, I'm like, I I want to be excited and learning and trying new things. But yeah, I think like I don't have it figured out either. I'm trying to figure it out day by day. I think about it. I feel like I'm living my dream life. I really do. Like I have a beautiful son, an awesome wife, amazing business partner, team, ranch. Like really, like if you looked at me and you're like, this guy is freaking living it. But like, you know, it's also tough, like living on a farm. Like people don't realize like you got to water something every day and take care of this, and you actually can't travel because you need either a farm sitter or you need this or that, or right, you got chickens, you got to collect the eggs every day, and stuff breaks, fence boards break all the time, so you're doing that. You want a garden, now you got to weed, you got to like you're giving something up somewhere always. And it just matters where you want to give it up. I would say like I feel excited right now for our company. I think if I talk about company, I feel super excited about that because, you know, we've got some tenure to us now. We've made mistakes. And we're just like really focused on profitability and service and like, you know, getting what we want out of the company. We're out of our way now on like who's our demographic and is this product working or whatever. Like, I think more than anything, it's like, okay, we've been in this almost 10 years, like literally on the brink of 10 years. And, you know, if we want to put another 10 years in, like, how are we going to do that? How are we going to stay motivated? How are we going to stay excited? And so we need the company to work more for us. I think like in this next tenure. So that being said, it's really cool. We've got some cool stuff on the horizon there with like, we sell in over 1,600 grocery stores across Canada currently. And, looks like we're locking down Sobeys National right away. And Whole Foods that comes online here in September. So we got a lot of stuff kind of coming down the pipeline. We've been dealing with a lot of commodity fluctuations the last 4 or 5 months, which has been terrible, but whatever, it's just another problem, right? Like, you know, at the end of the day, like that's where I say, like when I go hunting and stuff, I'm like, I could get mauled by a grizzly bear and I'll tell you the sun's going to set and come back up tomorrow. Like the water's still going to be flowing through this creek and it doesn't really matter. And so every time I get stressed out about this or that, or, you know, is this going to work? Or, you know, we can watch our cash flow burning, right? Like it's like whatever, what's in our control, let's just focus on that and let's move forward. So
this has been cool, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's I'm so lucky to like sit across from a dude like you and just hear the story.
Thanks, man.
Because it's like it's me knowing just like a little bit about your business. I'm like, oh, this successful dude had a cool idea, did something, but to actually have all the context now is just it's such a unique experience. So thanks for sharing like the way you do, the way we did.
No, you're very welcome. I think like when I listen to podcasts, and I listen to a lot because I have a lot of drive time, and my favorite part is listening to how people got to where they are. Like I could care less about how successful you are. Like I want to know your failures and I want to know your trials, tribulations, even if you didn't have failures. Like I just want to know like one of those things. And you know, I actually recently I got outside of my own way and I read this book called Undressed by Greg Vetter. It's a really good book. He started up a salad dressing company out of the US, grew it to 300 million, had a hostile takeover and it went crazy. And I was like, man, I need to like get a better mentor. And I was like, there's no way I could get somebody like that to mentor me. And because you kind of outgrow your mentors as you age and grow your business. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to message this guy and see if he would mentor me. And I message him and he calls me up the next day and he's like, so man, what do you want mentoring about? And I'm like, no fucking way.
No way.
Like, no way, man. Yeah. Like he's like way out of my league. Anyway, so he mentors me now. And he's like, well, He's like, I'll mentor you, but he's like, how are you going to pay me? You're going to give me foot massages? You're going to give me, are you going to give me coffee for free all the time? I'm like, well, I was like, coffee will be easy, but I'm like, how about I bring you out and we go on a horseback elk hunting trip in Alberta this fall? He's like, I dig that. So
Amazing.
That's the payment.
Amazing.
So don't be scared. Like if you're going to ask or like look for a mentor, like just do it. Like if it's somebody, because they're human. And I think that's the biggest thing is that we realize, like, as we go through life and like seeing everything that I've seen too, it's like everybody's human.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same innate connection needs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it makes sense. It also makes sense why you showed up the way you did today, because you've listened to podcasts and what you're interested in is what you did today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's cool.
Yeah.
Because you didn't
I didn't talk about my business at times.
No, but which is like,
right?
To your point, and that's not even, I'm not interested in projections and fucking, you know what I mean? Like
totally. Nobody cares about that shit.
It's like, it's obviously like, it
important.
makes it go, but like the story behind it is actually the most important piece for me. So
yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
I end the show with one question. When I say Calgary, where's your head go?
Freedom. I think Calgary to me is youth, opportunity, beauty, harshness. I think about like the weather here a lot.
Yeah.
And I think about the people. I kind of always have this thing is I think Alberta self-limits people and it only keeps the people it wants. It's got harsh winters, sunny all the time, but it can be brutal. It can be beautiful and incredible, but there's people that can hack it and there's people that can't. And if you can't hack it, then you probably won't be in Alberta. Mm-hmm. But if you can, then you deserve its bounties. So for Calgary, for me, it's just like, I used to call it my city. It's like the biggest, smallest city. I've never felt more at home in one place in my life. Mm-hmm. And like, you can go downtown and, I don't know as much anymore, but not be afraid. But I remember I was 13. I was taking the C train to go to Cart Garden to haul carts out of the ditch for 8 hours. At 13, like that's what the city is. It's like you can come from nothing and you can become something.
Yep.
You can come from nothing and stay nothing. It's your mindset. And like if you want to do something with your life, people will help you and support you along the way. Yeah. So
thanks again, dude.
Thanks, man.
Really cool. It's cool that Shep did the intro. It's also cool for me to finally just like sit down. Like, I know the brand.
Yeah. Actually meet the guys behind it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks so much for having me on. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. Really cool.
Thanks. Yeah.